there are two pieces to it. You've got MEDIVIEW Hub, which is the cloud-based online portion of the system. And you got MEDIVIEW Mobile, which is what you'll be using on your fire trucks, your ambulances, anything that is in the field. MEDIVIEW Mobile was designed to be untethered from the internet, meaning you don't need an internet connection to do your chart. But MEDIVIEW Hub does require a constant internet connection. So you don't want to do this in the back of a moving ambulance. Be on Hub. If you need to do charting where your internet can drop in or come out, you always want to do it in mobile because there's a local database on the tablet or laptop that you're using that stores all that information. When you're doing it inside a hub, you're trying to push that information into the database in the cloud, and if your internet drops while you're pushing something in, there's potential that you could lose data, so you don't want to use Hub. Now, the cool thing about MEDIVIEW Hub and MEDIVIEW Mobile is they were designed to try to equalize themselves out with each other and push data in between the both of them when you have internet connection available in the round, so that at any given time in a perfect situation, you could go from one to the other to finish your chart. So if, for example, I'm going to minimize Hub, and you were doing all of your charting in mobile, and then all of a sudden mobile came into access with the internet, regardless if you told it to do so or not, it's automatically going to start pushing data into Hub, creating a chart inside a Hub on its own, magically in the background, and depositing all of the data that you had put into the EPCR through mobile into Hub, and try to keep them both equalized and balanced with each other, so that if in a split second, for whatever reason, you dropped your laptop and it stopped working, you could potentially go into Hub and pick up right where you left off. Same thing happens when you're inside of Hub and you're building a chart inside of Hub. Hub is smart enough to know which mobile device that chart really belongs to based upon the station that you're actually charting from, because these devices are configured with those. And so it would immediately attempt to try to create that chart inside of mobile and push it down into mobile and equalize mobile out with what was inside a Hub for the very same reason. It's just there's a bi-directional communication between the two that constantly occurs. When you complete an EPCR inside of mobile and you submit it, and by what I mean by submitting it, it means that you are locked, you're ready to send it on to the state, you're ready to send it on to billing, and on to your QA process, whatever the case may be. Then obviously if you submit it, it leaves the mobile device permanently, but it can always be found in Hub. If you never actually used mobile at all to create your chart with, and you submitted it inside of Hub, well, it's just going to remain inside of Hub. Okay? Hub is the final resting spot for any chart that you create inside of the system. One of the other things I want to point out is that all of the configuration of the MEDIVIEW system that is done, including times when you want to go in and change your password, has to be done inside of Hub. And in order to get that information between Hub and mobile, you need to do a synchronization between, like, the mothership and all of its base shifts. So the way that you do this is through a little sync icon that appears down in the very bottom left of the screen, and you could do this from the mobile device. If you're wanting to pull data down to the mobile device from the cloud, then you'll go and you can go to the logon screen of the mobile device, and you can go down to the sync panel, and then you can see all the different things that it recognizes that could be inside of the cloud that needs to be synchronized. Data elements to save locally. This basically means that connection to the internet has been established. If there's a number greater than 0 that exists here, there are things inside of the hub that needs to be pulled down into your mobile device. This does this automatically ever so many seconds. You can see things syncing on the screen. I'm not actually forcing those to do this, but I can go in and any time I want, click any one of these buttons and force those to come down. Vice versa, when you submitted a record and you're pushing it up to the mobile or pushing it up to hub to complete it out, you're going to see potentially data elements to upload and a large number of those data elements to be existence down here. And so ideally, you just give it some patience, and either on its own it's going to start synchronizing and pushing that data up to the hub, or you could force it to do it by just pressing the buttons beside the different pieces here of whatever the case may be. So to just make sure I drill this in, when we are done with this call, you're going to have the ability to go in and change your initial password, because everybody's got the same generic one, just to make it easier to get you access and get you logged into the system for the first time. But when you change your password from that generic password to something unique and for yourself, you're going to do this inside a hub. But in order to get that down to your mobile device, you're going to need to come down here to the sync panel. And probably, so you're not, impatient with it, just go down to user accounts and click that synchronization button, so it will pull all of those password changes down to it. And then you'll be able to go over to the password and use that new password. Hub and mobile are identically the same in terms of like how to do the EPCR and things like that. So I'm going to train you from inside of Hub. Just know that everything that I teach you and show you today will translate down into mobile, identically to the way that you're looking at it inside of here. And I'll just pause real quick and ask if there are any questions, and just your silence will let me know just to move forward otherwise. Okay. All right, it's cool. So what we have to do, and hopefully all of your machines will already be, and again, Hub, you're probably going to use the mobile desktop on the tablet, so you probably won't use Hub in the field. But if you use Hub at the station, or if you happen to be at the station with a laptop that's connected to the internet and you need to log on the Hub for some reason, then you're going to want to open up the Internet Explorer, and up at the very top, you're going to want to type in MEDIVIEWonline.com. Okay, so let's see, Pierce. Okay. All right. Once everything loads, this is what you consider the landing page of the system, of what you will be seeing every time that you log in. I'm going to show you this from, I want to talk about everything on this page first, but eventually the chief is working on getting a CAD integration with your CAD system. So all your CAD data will be down here, including all the times and potentially some of the information about the type of call that you were on, so that it would automatically populate some of that information on your EPCR. You're going to see it across the bottom here. You can use this CAD data at the very beginning and create a report with it, or you can create a report, work on your chart, and then import your CAD data later if you need to do that. Obviously, depending on internet access and where you're going to be, when that CAD data is going to be appearing here, you may need to start your chart before the CAD data is actually there. Once you understand what the CAD data actually pulls into the chart, you can just leave those fields blank, knowing that your CAD data is going to fill those in for you, and you can get very focused into your patient care record. That being said, you'll see a line down here representing that particular run You'll click on that just like I'm clicking on this one up here. And then these two buttons here will come to life. Confirm and create report and import to current report. Obviously, confirm and create report creates a brand new record with that CAD data. And then if you come to this page and you import to current report, that obviously means you're already inside of an ePCR, which we're not here in this case, but you would be, and therefore you're just pushing that data into the current PCR that you are currently on. And I'll kind of show you how to do that in just a moment. Before we get into that, I want to show you this top section. This top section about My Records are the records that you, your partner, anybody that you have listed on the chart, they can see this in their My Records. So if, for example, me and one of you are inside, or me and one of you are doing a call, and I happen to be the one that comes on and creates the record inside of here, and I add you to that report, then you're going to be able to log on and you're going to be able to see that report show up in your queue under your username and password, even though you did not start the record. And here's the thing, guys. I'm very sensitive about your time and about not giving you any more information than what you're going to need to be successful. So everything that I do share with you is information you are going to need to know. But everything that I share with you are things that will hold you up if you don't understand them. The status column is one that you're going to want to understand. There are a few different statuses that you could come across using this system. The two most common ones is going to be open and locked. The one status that you're going to try to get all your ePCRs in is a status called submitted, which is different than locked and opened. And then that submitted status could go up and beyond that to a level of accepted. So we have open, we have locked, we have submitted that you don't see here, and then we have accepted, which you don't see here. The submitted and the accepted, I'll talk to you about in just a second. An open status means that you are authoring an ePCR. You or your partner or somebody has got, your name is on an ePCR. When you log on and you see a chart that says open on your My Records screen, you either know about that because you're authoring it or somebody is authoring a chart and your name is on that chart. And anything that's open, you can go in and make changes to that chart, add things to it, and fill that chart out. At the very end of that, your goal is to go hit the submit button and change that status from open to submitted. Where's this locked come into play? So what happens with locked, I look at locked as any type of chart that you guys have been doing that you have abandoned and walked away from without submitting it. This happens within 24 hours of starting a brand new record. So if you were to open this chart and within 24 hours you have not submitted it, it automatically locks itself. That's a configuration that could be changed to whatever you guys want it to be, but by default it's 24 hours. And most likely, in most cases, 99.9% of the time, a locked status is just a chart that you guys were playing around with, that you guys weren't serious about, or maybe you were serious about, but you maybe started over and you just failed to delete it. And it's just kind of like, kind of waste at the bedside. You're just, it's not doing anything. You could go away. It could be deleted. Sometimes every once in a while, I would say, if you had mass casualty or a big disaster in your area and you needed longer than 24 hours to fill these things out, I could see where Chris or the chief would go in and up the time limit so that things don't lock automatically within 24 hours. It's easily done. Just know when you guys go live, all of this stuff is going to get deleted and you'll get started fresh with a brand new database. so that you can start with record number 1 and no locked or submitted records before you guys go live. But even in the future, as you bring people on and they need to practice inside of here, they could practice inside of here and just abandon these things, and you could just know to go in and delete them. It's no big deal. But locked statuses basically mean billing can't see it, the state will never get it, QA will never get it, it never actually went anywhere. It's kind of like I was authoring it and walked away from it, that type of thing.